Boom. We are live and back with another episode of the Change What We Normalize podcast. It's been a while, y'all. It's been a while. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while. There's no excuse. I've been a little busy getting things done. You know, your boy's getting married soon, so just a lot of planning and different things going on. But I'm excited. And this is the reason why I had to do a live stream for this episode. I felt like I owed y'all this. You know what I'm saying? So I want to bring this live stream here, and I have a super special guest, a great friend of mine, someone who is incredible in so many different ways. A mother, I consider her an elite fitness trainer. I consider her a mentor. She's a business owner. She's just so many things. It's hard to almost even sum it up, but ultimately just a great person. And I'm super excited for y'all to join in on this episode and really hear from my great friend, Kristin Johnson. So she's going to be coming up soon and we're going to get this thing rolling, man. But again, I'm excited to be back. Expect a lot more episodes from me. I have some super special guests lined up for y'all, and I have some value on the way. So again, if you're listening to this now, if you're on this live stream, do me a favor, go ahead and share this, tag a friend, tag somebody you love, but get this message out because this is going to be a powerful conversation. So coming up next is my interview with Kristin Johnson on the Change What We Normalize podcast. Chris, what's going on?
Hey, Nate, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm excited to have you here, though. Thank you for taking some time out your evening. I know you're super busy. I know we got a few of your ladies tapped in right now on the Facebook. I'm actually checking it right
Hey,
now.
y'all.
You know, CWK ladies are joining us, and we're going to dive into a little bit of that too, as well. But now I'm excited. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm excited. My dog is also excited, as you can see. Thank you for giving me thank you for giving me this opportunity to tell my story and just, hopefully I can reach someone, even if it's just one person who might be going through the same things that, I was faced with. And get them to inspire them to change, motivate them to move, and you don't realize what you're capable of. So hopefully, this story will help them realize that I'm no different than anybody else. And if I can do it, they can do it too.
Yeah. And that was the main reason why I was like, I have to get you on here. Of course, I've been saying it, but I'm like, yo, somebody needs to hear, your story is something that I always love to say. And I'm going to start saying this every episode too when I bring guests on. So y'all going to get annoyed with this, but I don't care. It is what it is. But your story is about you, but it's not for you. And
Absolutely.
I'm a real believer in that. I mean, you heard me say it when I did the speech over at Oakcrest, like your story is about you, but it's not for you. It's
Yep.
for someone else. And I feel like once we get to a point where we've healed from certain things, it's time for us to share that because somebody else needs that, especially in the space
Absolutely.
that you're in training. You have a massive following of women who are coming there not just for weight loss or muscle gain, but they're coming for a myriad of different issues
Right.
and situations. So I think it's super important. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into that because I met you back in sheesh, what was this? What are we in 21?
2016.
It was
Mm,
16.
yeah.
Sheesh.
Yep.
So we
2000.
met in 16 at Retro Fitness.
Yes, sir.
Um, yeah, and you were killing it then actually, but that was like when you were like starting. So let's
Yeah.
do this. Let's kind of dive into that a little
Okay.
bit about that part, and then let's even go back a little further right after that. So go ahead. Let's start with that Retro Fitness when you were kind of transitioning to like, yo, this is what I need to be doing.
Well, I guess so. I lost all my weight at Retro Fitness. After years of trying and failing, I finally was like, I'm over this. I'm not doing this no more. I was tired of starting over. So, I buckled down and I was going very hard and I lost 100 pounds at Retro Fitness in less than a year, in about 10 months. And,
Wow, that's crazy.
it was, honestly, I was fed up at that point because I was 27 and I had put on weight when my son was born. So he was born when I was 20. So it was 7 years of trying and failing to lose that weight. And it gets defeating, like having to start over, take a before picture, get yourself all hyped up, get yourself to, get rid of all your food, go grocery shopping, get to the gym. And then, something happens, you cheat and you're like, you know what, whatever, this ain't for me. And before you know it, you're starting back over again. And I think I got to a point where like the process of that was just, I was fed up with it. So that last time I was like, man, I'm not doing this ever again. And ever, I'm gonna die trying to do this. So that last time I just said, I'm not going to stop. That's just going to be the difference this time, is that I'm not going to stop. And it's been 7 years since then. And I haven't stopped since. And so basically what happened was people started asking me for help once I had lost the weight. Different women in the gym just started asking me for tips. And at that point, I had no plans of being a trainer. I was a paralegal at the time. And, that was something I went to school for, and I did internships before I worked for different law firms. So like, that's the road I thought I was going to go in. But people started asking me for help, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should go get certified. Went and got certified. I started subbing group classes and just really trying to help people just because I wanted to help them. And what ended up happening, I put on Facebook, like, oh, I'm doing a workout at such and such time, come meet me. And like 15, 20 people came. And the owner of the gym was like, we're going to give you a class. I'm going to give you a job. And after that, I think that was like right before I met you. Like I had just started training when I met you. I didn't really know what I was doing. I was making 70-year-old men do inchworms across the floor. Like I didn't know what I was doing.
And they kept coming back too.
They did. Remember Randall?
Randall was that dude, yeah.
He was doing inchworms. I said he's gonna inchworm out of here and never come back. He was with me for a minute. But yeah, so it was crazy time, and at that point, I was really just doing it because I loved doing it. There was no money involved in it. I would have done it for free. I did it for free many, many times. I did it for $5 or, just because I just really enjoyed it. So, that's how my career started in that. And, there was all this background stuff going on in my life. I was going through a very tough breakup at that time. My ex and I we were doing everything to try to stay together, but wasn't working out. And, the gym and my work was very much like a release and a way to get away from, the things that were going on behind the scenes. So anyway, that was, that took me to that time. And I quickly realized that like, maybe this is something I'm passionate about and that I enjoy doing. And maybe this somehow was tied to my purpose. So yeah, I mean, I did this 21-day Daniel's fast. I went to Fusion Church, and they do the Daniel's fast in January, like that first. So I was doing the Daniel's fast, and it was.
So we waiting for you to come back. I'm a member. We waiting for you.
I'm coming. I'm there in spirit. But I'm coming. I swear, Danisha, I'm coming. So I did the Daniel's fast. And when you do the Daniel's fast, it was right around that time, right when I was trying to lose weight. I was almost to my 100-pound mark. And you do the Daniel's fast, not to fast for weight loss, but for like a specific answer you're looking for. And my thing that I was fasting for was, what is my purpose in my life? And, because I used to go to this job. I hated this job. I would be in the car like, I hate this job. Oh my God, how do I get, this can't be it. This can't be what I'm meant to do. And I fasted to find out what my purpose was. And, God put it in my heart then that, I was going to be a trainer, and I hadn't even reached my goal weight yet. Like I remember being at the point where I was like nervous to even say that I wanted to be a trainer because I felt like people were going to laugh at me because I wasn't fit. I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't fit the mold. So that was really it. I got these visions of me like training people around that time after I did the 21-day Daniel's fast. And, it went from there. And after that, things just kind of started opening up and happening. And, it's been very much that since. So, but
Yeah, and as I'm listening, it's like it wasn't a smooth path either. It wasn't like the Daniels fast. This is my purpose, and now it's just popping. It's like
and now,
you went through a whole thing. Like we remember talking about it. Like, yo,
man,
we
look,
was making crumbs out here, waiting
crumbs.
for people to come to the gym.
We made $7 a session. I will remind you, $7 whole. And the sessions were a half-hour sessions. So in an hour, you would get 14. And, you and I would sit at that trainer's desk all week
Yeah.
long, get our check and be like, did we work this week? Did we what?
Did I even do anything? Can I buy a protein shake? Like anything? Like
Right. It was just all went to taxes. But yeah,
right.
it was pretty much, and that's what it is when you work for a gym. Like the gym is not for the trainer. I mean, I guess it's not my best. I shouldn't say that, but most gyms are not, especially the big box gyms. They're not for the trainer. They paid us $7 for those sessions, but they were charging people $60 for our sessions.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
yeah. And I knew at that point, bruh, I knew at that point that was going to be a stepping stone and not somewhere that I was meant to stay. So, I think once I got to the point where I had built my business up, I took it out of that gym and, because I would never have survived. I think I made $10,000 the whole year from that.
Jeez.
So I don't even, I mean, it was rough. It was rough, especially going through the breakup and, I lost my house with, all this was all around the same time.
Yeah. So let's go a little further back then to like young Chris and kind of, how you were raised, what was going on around you, what were some of the things you may have seen, or what were some of the things that impacted you, even today that you're still growing through. I think it's super important that we kind of at times not live in those places, but revisit so we can see how far we've come and our growth. Right.
Sure.
So I want to dive a little bit further back to, young, maybe even teenager, maybe even younger. Like, what was that experience like?
Well, this is going to be, this is something.
This is juicy. Let me get my tea.
So yes, I mean, I had a little bit of a difficult childhood growing up. My parents, I love them. Love y'all.
Love you, mom and dad.
Love you, mom and dad. My parents broke up and got back together quite a bit. They actually were married twice. So I was in their second wedding. They were divorced twice. Every other year of my life, they split up. And every time they would split up, we would have to move. So every other year I went to a different school. I was the new kid. Every other year we would move back and forth between my grandparents' house. And, I grew up in not the best environment. My parents were fighting quite a bit. There was a lot of toxicity in my household growing up. It was a little bit like it was difficult to grow up in. There was a lot of fighting, and it was just about every day of my life when my parents were together. And then they would break up. These crazy breakups would happen. And then we'd end up at my grandparents' house. And my grandparents, would help my mom with taking care of us. And then my mom and dad would get back together, and we'd end up back in that same kind of toxic environment. And it was crazy. It was crazy. I became like a little bit of a fighter, and, very protective of my mother. And there got to a point where, I used to try and, stick up for her and try and protect her. And it led to, some crazy situations with my father. And, that's a relationship that, is not where I would like it to be. Even though, he's tried and he's different now. A lot happened, and, it's been trying for me to try and heal from. I wasn't treated like the little princess growing up. This is deep, Nate.
Hey, look, we
Oh
here, we
man,
listening. We're gonna go as deep as you want to go.
I know, but
But
I'll dig myself in a hole.
yeah, we be down here deep. Next thing you know, we both on here crying. But
Bruh.
no, as you're sharing that again, just thinking of so many different things, and again, I appreciate your transparency, your vulnerability, because I know that that's blessing somebody else.
Mm,
Um, because they may see you and they like, yo, Chris got it all together. She got all, you know what I mean? And it's like you
happen.
don't know the
No,
story behind all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying?
for sure, for
But I
sure,
think it's interesting because, like you said, you develop certain things because of what was going on around you. So it's like you became a little aggressive because you almost felt like you had to be there
for sure.
to be that protector in a sense. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And
yeah.
I
I
just
felt
think
very
about,
protective of my mom and my
mm,
sister.
oh yeah, your sister, yeah.
Yeah, my mom and my sister. I just, I just felt very protective of them, at a very young age. And I mean, it got to the point where there was, got into some stuff. There was some stuff that happened. You know what I mean? My father and I got into fights plenty of times, and
Hmm.
it's not the father daughter, you know, it's not the father daughter relationship that I should have had that would have set me up to have good relationships.
Yeah.
Um, and a lot stemmed from that.
Hmm.
And it's something I still struggle with now.
That's understandable too. And I heard earlier, I was listening to I think I was on YouTube watching something, I don't know. But there was a therapist saying like the word should.
Mm,
That's a very challenging word because it puts pressure on us.
yeah.
Like we should have had this or you should have done that.
Right.
And for
Right.
me, I'm big on words. Me and you talk about that all the time, like language, words, all that
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Just
I'm
today.
also thinking, right, just today, right? Just literally today, like
Right. Right.
earlier.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Crazy, texting back and forth, but it's like the power of words, right? And just to encourage you, it's like, yeah, you went through those things, but you've also built this resilience that
True.
has allowed you to be who you are,
Right.
for yourself, for your children, and for others. So I want to switch gears a little bit and move up towards the teenage years, kind of transitioning into young adult when you became that mother. Like how was that situation? How scary was that? Or what did you gather from that being a young mother?
Well, I do want to speak one more thing on just the last thing
Oh
I'm.
yeah, go ahead.
I think it's taken me a little bit of time too, because I guess as a mother, I'm a mother now. My son is a teenager. He's a freshman in high school, which is nuts. And my
Crazy.
daughter is in fifth grade. And, I've been a mother for a while. And like, I think, the thing that has helped me kind of have grace is just realizing that like my mom was young when she had me. She was the same age that I was when I had my son. So,
Mm,
there's no playbook to this. And everybody is conditioned from their own experience. And so,
right.
I often try to think about, just the things that they experienced that made my parents a certain way when they were raising me. And, one day my kids might be on a podcast talking about me. So, I think that's kind of helped me too, is that like everybody has a level of conditioning from their own experience, and people, are moving from that, from their own perception, and not necessarily trying to hurt you. So, anyway,
Mm.
okay, moving on.
No. That's good. That's good because I remember um, having some tension towards my parents,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it wasn't until I sat down and heard both of their stories, right? Because as a kid, you only see them as mom and dad.
Exactly.
It's like, yo, you're just mom and dad, but it's like, okay, you have a whole life too. You're
Right,
somebody else's child. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right, right, right.
And when I was able to sit down and I was mature enough to be like, all right, and really hear their stories individually, there was another level of grace that I had for them. Like,
Yeah,
oh my goodness, I almost felt like a jerk a little bit. Like, damn, I was kind of mean to y'all.
I know.
I didn't realize you went through all of that. But when we're young, we just see them as mom and dad. So there
Yeah,
is no grace for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important that we have those conversations. So the parents that are listening, I'm not saying you need to be airing out, all your stuff, but it's like that level, there needs to be some level of transparency, some level of an open door policy where y'all can have, real conversations when they are of age. I
Right.
think that's super important to have those things. So
And being
as
a
we
mother
transition,
myself, yeah,
oh
like
yeah, for sure.
it adds a whole different perspective on it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, that's for sure. That's for
yeah,
sure.
so it,
So
it 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 certainly does. Oh, hey Jay.
yeah. Oh yeah, this is live. Yeah,
I can't see nobody on here, so that's good. Hey Jay. Um,
yeah. But
okay,
yeah, so tell me a little bit more about that young mother stage, kind of trying to
yeah.
figure life out, like, because you don't even know yourself at that age. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
not at all. And you know what? I often say this, hindsight. So going back to that time, I used to sing. I was very big into singing. I went
Oh
to
yeah, we're gonna talk about that too, because you used to sing and like people like, oh, Chris used to sing. I'm like, why is it's a whole nother story, but we're gonna get you to sing
I
one
gotta
of
stop
these times.
screaming at the top of my lungs all the time. But you know what? I'm gonna use the microphone. And they got me a microphone.
We're gonna get you to sing in class one day. Like at the end, we're just
Lord.
gonna have you. We're
Mm.
gonna we're gonna cut the lights low and just let you just share it just over everybody.
Have to be a Tony Braxton song because that's how low my register is now. Um, but yes, I did used to sing, and it was something that I was very passionate about. In fact, it was probably, for me, like an escape um, from what was going on in my home life. When I was growing up, I went to Charter Tech for the performing arts. I was in the I was I was at Charter Tech for the performing arts, and oh gosh, yeah. Sorry, I got ADHD, Nate.
Yeah, you gotta stay
Um,
focused, girl. Why not?
I know, right? Sheesh. I was in Charter Tech for the performing arts. I did different bands, different shows. Every month I did a show. So, we would have different stuff available at the school. And it very much still music is something I love. And it's very something I'm really passionate about. I've always been like that. I mean, my dad has recordings of me when I'm like 2 or 3 years old, begging him to put the music back on. So it's something that's very much ingrained in me. And when I was singing, it was something that I used to deal with the stuff that was going on, in my life at that time. I was in bands. Tosh and I got very close because I was in Bubba Mac Shack. We used to be part of their house bands, and I would do weddings, and we would do these different gigs, and it was something that I really loved, and it was something that I was very confident with. I would get up on stage and have my little cute little outfits, and it was something that was very much a part of me. And I was in Keene University for music, and I ended up getting pregnant, and I was kind of at a crossroads a little bit because once you feel that in your stomach, that little kick in your stomach, that's it. Like you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like everything is not about me anymore. That's it. No more. That time is over. And I decided to have my son Joshua. He's in another room ear hustling right now. And I at the time it was difficult. I didn't have a pot to piss in. I dropped out of college. His dad and I did get married. Which we're good friends now. At the time, you shouldn't marry anybody when you're 19. Bad idea. That's not a good idea.
Disclaimer, everybody that's listening.
Yeah, please don't do that. Please. You're gonna be like 3 more people after that. But so we got married, but it was really just because I was raised in church. I was raised in church. My mother kept me in church my whole childhood. She kept me in church. And he was a church guy. We were going to Second Baptist, and we were just trying to do the right thing. So we got married at a disgustingly young age, and it didn't work out. Shocker, I know. And I found myself, very young with a baby, and you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to be a famous singer. So I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. I was living in subsidized housing. I was on everything you could be on. I was on WIC. I was on the food stamps. I was on every kind of assistance you could get. I was waitressing and trying to. That was when I was like, all right, well, I got to do something. And I decided to try and go to school for paralegal. I ended up getting it paid for through the One Stop, and like I did all of that. I really did not have, it was a very trying time in my life. My husband, my ex-husband, was not faithful, and that was something that was a lot. I always attributed that to my weight gain, because on top of that, I gained all that weight when I was pregnant with him. Because like nobody tells you, nobody tells you that you think, okay, I'm pregnant, I'm good, I can just eat everything that I want and I'll be fine. And then apparently my baby was not 80 pounds. So as soon as I had the baby, as soon as I had my son, I still had all that weight left over. And I did for a long time blame myself, for what happened in my marriage and the fact that he cheated on me. I thought it was because I didn't take care of myself and I wasn't attractive, and but yeah, I mean, it's deep. It's deep.
That's a trap. A lot of, well, not even a trap, but that's a situation a lot of people, especially women, fall into.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where that happens, and it's like, oh well, I must not be attractive, so it's okay. I'm not pleasing him, and it's not okay.
No.
But a lot of times we put the blame on ourselves when somebody else,
right,
blatantly hurts us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't want to cut you off. I thought that was a really important point to make, but continue.
No, for sure. And he eventually did years later apologize for Jay gotta stop cracking jokes. Yeah, he did end up apologizing, and we are very good friends now. Much later on. In fact, he was one of my trainers when I first started my weight loss journey. But we were very, very, very young. I didn't have nothing. He didn't have nothing. Neither one of us had anything. He moved back to his family's house, and I had this apartment. I couldn't pay for this apartment. Like I said, I was on all kind of government assistance. When my son was a year old, I had to go to Catholic Charities to get him Christmas presents because I could not afford Christmas. And I'm very headstrong. So, I'm sure if I'd have asked my mother or my grandmother or somebody to help me get him some presents, but it was, I just had to do it myself, and yeah, I mean, that was a tough year. I had to go to the mission. I was going to be evicted from my apartment because I could not afford the rent. I had to go to the mission, and they had this like grant for single moms where they would pay your rent if you had an eviction notice. And I mean, it was rough. It was rough. I was catching the train to work from Hamilton. We live way up in Hamilton, so not close to anybody who could help me. I was paying a neighbor to babysit my son. Or, I had him in daycare, and the little Spanish lady would just come in very early for me. It was rough. I mean, that was a hustle for me at that time. Like I said, I was in school for paralegal, and I was waitressing at the Chelsea. I was part of that opening crew of the Chelsea, and I was just a breakfast waitress, hustling, trying to make money, and just, like I said, didn't have a pot to piss in. And yeah, it was a trying time in my life, but I will always remember that, and always remember that, like, it'll never be as bad as that. I mean, I had a jar full of change, and we were dumping it on the table to get groceries. Like, it was bad. So I'll always remember that because nothing ever seems as dire as that situation. I actually called, after my ex-husband and I broke up, I called a suicide hotline. And, I had a friend of mine. He's one of my friends on Facebook. I don't know if he's watching this, but his name is Rasan. And I met him calling a suicide hotline because when my son would go to his dad's house, I felt like I had no life, no nothing. I didn't know what to do with myself. I felt like hopeless and didn't know, the thing that I had always banked on doing with singing and all that, I wasn't able to do. And, it was rough. And, Rasan from the suicide hotline talked to me every night for a long time just to kind of help me through that stage of my life. I never actually met him either. He just was very instrumental in that time. And most people don't know that, that I went through that, but going through that and feeling every ounce of that and holding my son in the corner of the apartment because I didn't know how we were going to pay the bills, it's it makes you strong. It makes you really strong. So,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I'm not glad. I'm glad I went through that. And I do say, before I had my son, like I tell him all the time, like even though I had him when I was 19, he saved my life. Oh, thanks, Dad. He saved my life. I was very selfish before I had my son, and I didn't really know what love was before I had my son, and I didn't really know how to give that unconditional love and how to think of anybody but myself. And when my son came into my life, it showed me how to love outside of myself. And
That's good.
I wouldn't change a thing. That little boy is my heart, and so is my daughter, because they both are. But I wouldn't change anything. He was sent to me for a reason. Yeah.
No,
So.
that's again, I really, really appreciate you, just diving deep into that and pulling that out. I know that was tough to pull out because we talked about that before, and you was like,
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. But again, I believe that there's somebody again on this other end who's either on this live stream now or who may listen to this months from now or years from now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to bless them because they're going through similar situations, similar trials, and things like that. And I always believe that these stories, are really encouraging. So as we dive a little bit more, because
Mm-hmm.
you went through those situations, you were in this dark hole, right?
Dark hole,
Calling a suicide hotline. This gentleman, praise God for him.
for sure.
This angel kind of walking you through and being that encouragement for you.
Mm-hmm.
When does that transition happen? Because that's a tough thing to get through. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you got to really be mentally in a place strong where you're just continuing to push through, and obviously God's grace and things like that.
Right.
Um, so when did, I guess, that stuff kind of get behind you when you started to focus on the training, kind of like, okay, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm doing, and I want to help other women, really. Obviously, you have some men clients, but your focus is like women.
Yes.
Like they flock to you from everywhere. So
I want women.
yeah,
We
yeah, of
like
course
men.
you want.
I mean, but I am a woman, so it's not a
Right.
hard thing for me to help a woman because I've been through it myself. There was a lot. I guess. Oh, thanks, Mom. There was a lot that in between that time because, like I said, Josh was a little baby, and it's funny because my ex pointed it out to me recently that
Mm-hmm.
my ex pointed it out to me recently that I had started trying to lose weight then. I used to put my son in the baby stroller. And we didn't, we shared a car. So when I didn't have a car, I would just be in the house in Hamilton, stuck up there. So I would put my son in the baby stroller and be like, all right, I'm gonna go around the complex, 6 times and try to get a little bit of cardio in just from walking. And I would put my headphones on and get into the music. And that was very much, it became like therapy for, it became therapy for what I was going through, where it just gave me the ability to lock in on something else. And I guess that would be the point when I started to do that, was, when my son was a baby. But a lot happened after that. And there was many times where I tried and failed to lose weight. I got married again. Big wedding this time. I had my daughter, Faith, who, I had my daughter with all the weight on from my son. Like I had not lost the weight from my son. And then I had another baby. And that went into, another difficult situation. I thought that was another thing. Like I thought my life was supposed to go a certain way. At that point, we had a big wedding, and a house with an actual literal white picket fence in front of my house.
Wow.
And I thought that, that was what my life was going to be. And at this point, I should say that I got to a point where I just stopped taking care of myself. I had 2 little kids at this point. My son was 7 and my daughter was 3 when I finally got fed up with my weight loss. But when my daughter was born, my son was like almost 4 and I had a little baby. So, it's very easy to put yourself on the back burner at that point. And I was just going day to day. Like, I stopped wearing jeans. I would just wear yoga pants and my ex-husband's shirts and just try my best to cover and to not pay attention, to how much weight I was putting on, even though, it was something that was always in the back of my head, because when you don't feel confident, and when you go to the store to put clothes on. I always tell this story. I went to Kohl's to try on an outfit, stayed there for 3 hours. I couldn't find anything I liked. I cried in the dressing room and then canceled and didn't even go out. And that was the place that I was in. And that's very much like a place of where you just kind of feel like you're in bondage. And remember, I told you I used to sing, and that was not me. That was not my personality. My personality was this like big, giant Beyonce personality. But I was just not who I was anymore, from all that weight that I had put on. And I just got lost. I got lost in taking care of my kids, my husband. I had a group of friends who all had little kids, and we used to get together and just eat a bunch of junk and drink really bad coffee drinks. And, just we used to smoke. I used to smoke cigarettes like a lot. And, it was just, I lost me. I had the house, the white picket fence. I had a boy and a girl. I had my husband, and everything out from the outside looked like it was great. But on the inside, it was not. I was uncomfortable. I was in a bad marriage, and things were falling apart. And I guess I had gotten to the point where, I said I had my ex, Josh's dad. He was a trainer, and he was doing these free, free assessments. And he calls me and he's like, Chris, come down to the gym and let's do an assessment. And he did challenge me. He challenged me, and he said, listen, you put on weight, and this is not who you were, and you got to get a hold of this. And I was like, all right, you're right. I like it when people challenge me. And that's why I have the personality I do with my clients now. So I went down to that gym. This was when I was living in the house with the two babies and my ex-husband. And, went down to the gym, did the assessment, and I found out that I got on the scale, and it said 256 pounds. And I could not believe it. Like, I just couldn't. I knew I was over 200, but like, I didn't know that it was that bad. I had no idea, because I had just stopped paying attention. I had stopped taking care of myself. I had stopped looking. I had stopped trying with Chris. I wouldn't even put on makeup. Like, I would put on like I said, my husband's shirt. I would put my hair in a bun and yoga pants and Uggs and keep it going. And I did that for years, to the point where I didn't even realize that I had gotten to 256 pounds. I cried that day. I cried for 3 days after that, because I could not believe that I had gotten to that point. And then I was like, yo, you gotta fight. Like, nobody is going to get you out of this but you. You are here, and what are you going to do? You're going to stay here? And after that, I really was angry that I had gotten to that point. And that was when I turned that fighter mode on, and, became that fighter, I guess, that I had always been. And I fought that weight off of me. I was there every day. The people at the gym be like, when are you going to go home? Because I was there every day, because I was just angry that I had let myself get to that point. So,
yeah. That's interesting how you pull something from your childhood to utilize to your benefit as a young adult. And something I'm thinking about now, because we're working together now, we're doing, you had this 30-day challenge going on. Shout out to the crew that's a part of that amazing 30-day transformation challenge.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Sorry, I said yes, ma'am.
You're good. But as I'm thinking about it, we're walking them through this process. We're about almost halfway there.
Yeah.
And you've been training these groups for a while. I mean, from retro to Attila's to other places. I was doing it in my
basement too. Don't forget, I was doing it in my basement of the house.
In the basement I remember that. I had the basement popping for a while. The basement ministry was popping. I'm thinking, how has just those situations in general, like you said, you turned on that fighter mode.
Yeah.
and you got to that point where you were just so upset, like how did I lose me in this? How often would you say you see that within your own group that you're training now? Because like I said, you have a flock of women who come to you where it's like, I see what I was and I'm able to help that. Like, do you
Oh my
see that
gosh.
often, you would say?
Every time a new client walks in the door, I see a piece of myself in them.
Mm,
And when I talk to them, I, it's like I'm talking to me. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like
yeah.
I talk to them in a way that I know I needed to hear back years ago. And
Mm,
yeah, like, every single client that walks through my door, I want them to get to past this. And I know they
mm,
can. That's the thing. It's like I know from my own experience that like they don't have to go through this. They can get past this. And as soon as they sign up, I'm like, we are going to get past this. I'm going to show you how to get past this. And
mm,
there's a lot of times when yes, I see pieces of myself in different parts of my story. Even not just weight loss clients, because remember, I got really skinny after that show and I was trying to put
mm-hmm.
muscle on.
I
So
remember that.
even clients like that, I got to a point where I had gotten so skinny that I was uncomfortable and I wanted to put muscle on. So I can even identify with those clients too. And
Mm,
I just want them, each woman who comes through my door, to know that like where they're at does not have to be their final destination, that they can change their story. And, I feel so passionate about helping them do that. I get women who come in my office and are in tears because of where they're at, or women during the workouts who are crying because of where they've got themselves to. And I've been in the
mm,
same exact space and I just want to help them get through it, because when you're in that, you don't know if you can get through it. You don't know. You're like, this might be whoever, this might be who I am now. This might be,
right, right.
can I get out of here? I don't know if I can get out of this. And I just want them to know they can. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So yeah, like that's why it's so personal to me. If I didn't have bills and stuff, I would do this all for free. I would, everybody, I'm telling you, because it's very much a ministry for me. Like I just want people to get free from that. I want people to break
Mm,
the chains. I want people
that's
to get
good.
out of that bondage. Yes,
No,
it's bondage.
yeah, yeah, that's
You
good.
know, it's
I'm
it's
so glad you said that, though. I'm so glad you said that. Like this
yeah,
is this is ministry for you.
for sure.
For someone who is believer, a Christian,
Right,
we kind of put everything in regards to ministry inside the church. And
right,
for me, just like you, my work is outside of that,
for
right?
sure.
My work is
Yeah,
far outside of that. For me, I'm in schools and things like that. And it's like, yo, that's my ministry.
right,
So it's refreshing to hear you say, like, look, this is my ministry. Like I'm speaking into people's life. I'm encouraging people. I'm helping them get to the next level. Like they're changing. They're not just losing weight or gaining muscle. They're
yeah,
literally changing their lives. And
right,
for the women that have kids who may have feel like they've lost themselves, they're now reclaiming and finding who they once were, and growing to a much better version to that. So they're not just coming through them doors sweating. Like you can sweat anywhere. You can
right,
sweat. We got workouts anywhere. It's gyms all around. You can pop
all
up the
around.
YouTube. You got the Nike app, like all that stuff. And
Exactly.
I tell them all the time when I'm there, I'm like,
Yep,
look, this is a lot deeper than that. And
right.
that's why that's really the reason why I titled this bigger than fitness, because it's so much bigger, because there
So
are
much.
other women trainers, but for you, you've taken everything within you and you've utilized it to breathe life into these women. And that's why they come back after you do your crazy workouts. They be dying. They about to die in that joint. Like, man, I don't know, man. She doing too much. And then next thing you know, you see him tomorrow. It's like, I thought she was doing too much. It's like, I know, but
They like it. They like to die a little bit. Don't listen to them. I have learned how to tune that out. I just shut them off. Okay, sis, I hear you.
she just shut it off.
We got
She
this.
don't even hear it no more. Just like, yep,
Just push
keep
ups.
going,
I want to hear it.
keep going. So let's do this. Let's do this real quick, because I do want to do one more last transition before we kind of, talk more about TWK.
Yeah,
As a trainer now, where you are now, in the space you're in, you're expanding, you're growing, business is going great, it's getting better. Mental health, I'm super passionate about that because of my own struggles and
yeah.
things that I've had, and just my work in general.
Hmm.
As a trainer, that's taking on so much, right? You're
Yeah.
taking on all different type of personalities. People are
Hmm.
coming to you with their stories and their traumas. how are you now at this point taking care of yourself and your mental health? That way you can be, available for these women. So you can respond to them in a way where you're not just pouring out on empty. You know what I'm saying?
It's been a struggle for me because I am an empath, just like you. So,
Mhm.
I want to help everybody all the time. I want to pick up, if I could do it for all of them, I would do, I would. So it's something that I'm learning is that you can't pour from an empty cup. Because again, I never want to turn this into something that is like a burden on me,
Mhm.
because it's something that I love so much. And it does fill me up. I never feel like I'm working. Like I enjoy going to work. I jump out the bed to go to work. So, I've gotten a couple of tough lessons. Just, this past year has been a really hard year for me. And I've gotten some crazy lessons that have kind of taught me that, like, you have to pay attention to yourself first.
Mm. Yeah.
Everything starts with you. And so, I've been in therapy. I see my therapist often. I love her. That's my sis. I've been in therapy since December. And God did that at the right time because January smacked me right in my head. And I went through a very difficult situation. I guess I could say breakup, that really had me on my behind. And February I had to go to the hospital for anxiety. I was having an anxiety attack. I couldn't breathe. I
Mm.
couldn't, I was
Wow.
I was pacing through my house and going out to my car and sitting in my car for hours. And, the fact that I was able to train anybody through what I was going through at that moment was just a miracle because I was on E at that moment after going through this really rough situation that kind of hit me like a ton of bricks out of nowhere. So I say all that to say what I learned in that situation and very much how I took my power back was taking that time for me. My therapist, she told me to find one thing that was my thing, that didn't have to do with anybody else. It was just my thing, not me giving to anyone, just my thing. And that's what led me to start going up to Pennsylvania and training with Built Fitness and the
Nice.
trainers up there. It's where I met my partner, Josh. And that became something that, I really looked forward to and something that will really energized me, where I would go up there, nobody knew me, I wasn't trainer Chris, I wasn't girl who lost 100 pounds, I wasn't none of that, I was just Chris, and I was just in the workout and I was just following what they said and it was pouring into me, and I feel like that made all the difference. It helped me find my power after this rough situation, and it inspired me and it filled me up and it helped me to release
Mm.
the stuff from the week and charge my battery. And prior to that, I was not at that point. And training with Rich too. I do have, it's funny. People ask me all the time, like, you're a trainer. Why do you need trainers? But Rich White is my personal trainer. I
Mhm.
train with him several times a week, and then I go up to Build Fitness on the weekends. And it is for that actual reason. It's because I need that. It's literally how I deal with what you said, pouring into people and making sure that my cup is not empty. Rich, yeah, he be killing me. But honestly, he be killing me. But honestly, I get a lot from I'm not gonna talk about it. I get a lot from our sessions. He's like my therapist,
Mm.
and I get a lot poured back into me. And now those times when I'm with Rich or the times when I'm up in PA, those times for me are untouchable. Those are my
Mm.
Chris times, my times with my therapist. Those are untouchable times. Nobody can touch those. My schedule's blacked out. You can't even book me at that time. And
Mm.
before all this stuff happened, this year, I didn't do that. And I was only half of what I am right now. Do you know what I'm saying? I was surviving. And now
Mm.
I'm at this point where, it's very important to me to fill my cup and to make sure that I have things in place for people to pour into me as well.
I like that. That's good. I'm just thinking about that one thing, right? Because I have my one thing as well. You have yours, and everybody's looks different.
For sure.
Um, but I'm proud of you for doing that. You know,
Thank you.
because on the outside looking in, it's like, yo, bro, why would you do that? But it's like, this is my thing that
Right.
fills me up. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? Whatever
Exactly.
that thing is that fills you up, we need to do it. And I love that because that's your form of self-care,
It is. It
which
is.
is dope. You know what I'm saying? That's really dope. It's not the cliche of like, oh, I'm just get my nails done, my hair done. It's like, this is my form of self-care. I like to go train. Not only that, you as a, I would consider an elite trainer. Now your clients, your women are looking at you like, oh, she got a trainer too. Like she's dead serious.
Oh
It's like
yeah.
I'm Denzel out in these streets. I'm the best, and I got an acting coach. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I stay at that tip top level. So
I
I
mean,
definitely applaud you with that and give you your flowers. And
thank
it's
you.
encouraging and inspiring at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you're doing all of the things to take care of yourself. You're like, look, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm going to continue to take care of myself and grow so I can better serve those,
Yeah.
who's around me, which I think is powerful. And as we talk about that, I want to talk a little bit about, TWK.
Yeah.
Training with Chris. I was calling it twerk for a long time, but it's definitely not
Yo,
twerk.
everybody calls it twerk. It could be called twerk because we
It
twerk
could
too.
be. It could. We got to implement a twerk class in there
Listen, I know
somewhere.
Darlene's got to teach the twerk class though. Nobody,
Got to.
nobody else. Somebody else.
So
It can't be
let me
Chris.
hear. So let's hear a little bit about that because, like I said, you've been at this
Yeah,
with this training thing for a while, but it seems like now you really have a laser focus on what this is.
for
You know what I'm
sure.
saying? Like this is your thing. Like TWK is your thing. Like y'all move as it. Like we went to Philly. What was that? A few months ago, as
Yeah,
like a
normal,
unit of
bruh.
TWK people. Like
We
deep.
get deep.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And that doesn't just happen from, oh, I'm teaching a group class a few days a week. Y'all should come out. It's like, no, you got a whole tribe with you that you've built. You know what I'm saying? Over time. So let's hear more about like TWK, kind of like the origins of it, and what's the plans for it.
So TWK, it's funny but that is called that now because I think so. I was like back in Antilles in EHT. I was writing training with Chris. Like we had that board, but I used to share it with like other trainers or whatever. So on top of the board, I didn't have room to write training with Chris, so I wrote TWK. And ever since then, it just caught on. People have been calling it TWK, which is, I guess, is much easier than saying training with Chris. And it's not even just me anymore. It's grown. But TWK was something that I started in my basement. Because after I didn't even get to this part of my story, and I'm not even going to go way deep into it. But after I lost my house with with my ex-husband and my two kids, I had to move in with my mother. And for a while we lived in her apartment. And then we ended up getting this house, and the house had a basement in it, and the basement had a separate entrance that you didn't have to go through the house to get to the basement. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I'm bringing my clients here. I'm not going to be training them at Retro for $7 when I could bring them in here. We get some weights and get it popping. So
Right.
that was how Training with Chris started. And that was in 2016, 17. I became an actual, legal business in 2017. And, we used to train in my backyard, on my porch, like wherever we could find a place. And, it very much grew from there. I got the opportunity to go to Antilles and Egg Harbor Township the day that they opened. I was there training. And eventually I was able to take my clients from my basement to the Egg Harbor Township gym. It's been all over the place. We had this little garage in Pleasantville for a minute. It was freezing. There was no heat. The girls were in there with coats on. But I think the thing is that, we've created, and I don't even, it's not just me. Like, it's just, I'm the trainer. Like, I don't feel like I'm like, at the top of and I'm the queen of it or anything like that. I just feel like I'm the trainer, and we have a sisterhood, and it's developed into this. It's I know, D, you're funny. It's like grown into this sisterhood where there's no cattiness, which is crazy because every time you get a bunch of groups of women together, there's cattiness, but there's no cattiness. There's women in there who have been with me since my first class who are still there. And you
It says a
know,
lot.
thank you. Yeah,
It
that's my
says a lot.
homies. But I never approached it like that. I always approached it as an us thing. I never approached it as a I'm the head and they're below me. So what ended up happening was we all just became very good friends with each other. We became very invested in each other's transformations. Where now I'm seeing people who have been with me for a long time and reach their goals are helping new people, and we're all just kind of,
That's dope.
we
That's dope.
want to see each other win, and we really genuinely like each other. It's a lot of moms, and I think we all kind of understand that when you become a mom, you lose that side of yourself that has the girlfriends and has fun and dances and goes to the gym and all, and everything becomes about your family and your kids. So I think it's given a lot of these women, and even not just moms, but women who get older, you lose that social side of it. It's given us all that kind of opportunity to have that, and we all really value each other. We all really like each other. It's genuine. We all want to see each other win. I mean, I had trained girls today, and I had put 90 pounds on the boxes for them to push, and all of us were screaming like, "Come on, go!" Just to get the girl across, because we knew she could do it. You know what I'm saying? It's turned into I know they could do it, so we know you could do it. And I think that's where that's what separates us, and it makes it more of something that's enjoyable. And that is also something that's very important to me. The ambiance and the atmosphere in there. I don't ever want anybody to feel bullied. I don't ever want anybody to feel like they don't belong. I dealt with that. You know what I'm saying? When you're 100 pounds overweight and then you go to a gym, you're like, I'm not supposed to be here. all these fit people, I'm not one of them. So I know that that's what they're going through in their mind when they walk into the gym and they become a client. They feel funny. They feel like they don't belong. They feel like they can't do the workouts. And so it's important to me that when I get a new client, we hold their hand and we're like, no, there's none of that in here. You belong here. There's a lot of times where I'll say, you belong here with us. And, starting clients off like that. This is my big head son back here. Starting clients off like that and seeing them go through their journey and then become someone who is now helping someone else is what's really given this, I think the crowd and the vibe and the tribe that we have, is because, and people stay with it. I want people to like working out. I want people to get excited and look forward to working out. And I feel like we've created that environment.
For sure.
And it's grown a lot.
God, yeah, No. This is great. This is great. And I've watched it develop and grow. Even during my time away from the gym and just training and everything, to come back and see the way it's growing, I realized like, oh, this is a real community. Like this is much bigger than, again, it's much bigger than fitness. And that's the beautiful part of all of this, because you're creating a community feel that's allowing people to be free and be themselves and be okay making mistakes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And not feeling judged, which is a huge part of it. And I've personally experienced that just working with you, being in the rooms and just seeing how the group is supportive of everyone. Even when a new person joins in. Right. It's like, oh, we got a new person in our family. Cool. And there's no envy. There's no jealousy. There's none of these things.
I will cut
there's nothing but support. So
yeah,
I'm excited about TWK and the future of what's going on. I'm super excited about our women who are in that 30-day challenge. It's super dope in that community. If you miss this round, you better not miss the next round. I just want to let you know you're missing out on some fire value. So as we kind of come to a close, I want to share a few more things. I want you to kind of share with people how they can get in contact with you.
Okay, so so right now, if you would like to join the team, my Instagram has which there's a logo. Is it here? There. I'm trying to point to it. I don't know. Can you see where my Instagram handle is? It has a book now button right on the front page, and you can click on that button and go right to book a consultation, and the consultation's free, and it'll be me and you sitting down talking about what we're trying to do, what your goals are, and really how to get you there. A lot of times during those consultations, that's when people break down and cry and all that. So, that's free 99. Come in and, and let's talk and see if we're a good fit for you. We also have, just in the past couple months, I've added a lot to what TWK offers. It used to just be me. But now we have all these different trainers. Nate is a trainer for TWK. Anae Johnson is a trainer for TWK. She used to be one of my clients, so I love that. And we have boxing, we have different classes. Adam's going to be doing a jump rope class. Abella does yoga. So it's really not just me anymore. We offer so much, and everything kind of goes together.
Hey, that's what's up. Hey, Josh, what's up, man?
What's up?
Jumping in on the podcast interview.
You being nosy.
Yeah, no, that's what's up though. I'm excited again. Make sure y'all hit her up. ASAP.
We have a nutritionist too. We have a nutritionist. They
have a nutritionist.
Yes, because diet is everything. Diet is everything. So it's important to me to bring a to bring a nutritionist on the team as well, so that we can get people their meal plans, because it goes right along with exercise and the mental health diet. So we really are a one-stop shop for everything transformation, fitness-wise. You can get it all in one spot.
It's beautiful to see it come full circle, because it's everything that you actually needed is what you are providing now in all aspects, from mental health to physical to the nutrition to the community support. It's like everything that you needed, that you were kind of struggling through, that you felt that you were missing. It's like you now offer all of that. And I think that that's beautiful when it comes full circle. And I believe we all have purposes similar to that, where God takes us back to where we once were, to help other people once we get through that. So that leads me right to our quote from you, right? All of my guests, I always have them bring a quote. I'm a big quote guy. So in my phone, I tell a story all the time. In my phone, I have a folder that's full of like hundreds and hundreds of quotes that I've just either created myself or I've taken from other people. But I'm really big on quotes, because a lot of them just speak life to me. And I live by a lot of different quotes. Change what we normalize was a quote, you know what I'm saying? And it became this whole thing, and now it's a movement. So for you, I asked you what your quote was, and it was, "You are stronger than you think you are." So I want you to kind of share where that came from, and that the mindset behind that. You're stronger than you think you are.
That actually was something that my first trainer, Raheem, my son's father, he really beat that into my head. I mean, not like literally, but he really used to like, this is what it is, because there were so many times where I would give up, or I would try to give up, or I would think I couldn't do anymore, or I would think I wasn't strong enough to pick up the weight, or think I couldn't do the ropes, or think I couldn't last. And he would be like, "No, you're going to do it. Watch you do it. Watch you do it. Watch, you think you can't do it, but watch, you're going to do it." And then I would be wrong every time. And he used to tell me that a lot. You are always stronger than you think. And it's become something that I really not just talk about with my clients and try to be into their head, but it's something that I use in my life. Like, okay, this situation might be dire, and you might think this is it. This is going to take you out. You call the suicide hotline or whatever. It's going to take you out. This awful situation. But you're stronger than you think you are, and you don't even realize that you can handle this. 99% of the time, we don't even realize that what we think we're not able to do, we actually are able to do. And we should just lead with doing it versus doubting whether or not we can.
Right. Now that's the truth right there. And I know that just blessed somebody who's listening. You're stronger than you think you are. That's the truth right there. Our mind, sometimes it tries to limit what we can actually do because we're scared, scarcity, past situations. We have traumas, we have issues, we have anxiety, and we almost talk ourselves out of so many things. So I'm glad that you shared that. And the last thing for this evening, for this podcast, one last question for you, and that is simply this: what does change what we normalize mean to you?
Okay. So you hit me with this last minute, but I'm going to do my best.
Hit you with the bliggity.
So
what does it mean to you?
Change what we normalize is basically everything that, my business encompasses, and not just my business, but the things that I've been through. what was very much normalized to me, or what I thought was my normal situation. Like I said, there was many times that I had my whole life planned out, and I just knew that this was the direction I was going to be going in, and this was the path I was meant to be on, and I was supposed to be a singer. Or wait, I was supposed to be a housewife, and that was my norm. And then, I guess there was bigger plans. God had bigger plans, things that I didn't even think of at the time. And, I guess changing what my norm was, it definitely changed and had the biggest impact of my life. My norm ain't nothing compared to what God has or had.
Hey, come on, somebody. Sound like church on here. Sound like church on here.
Hey,
I start collecting tithes in the comments like, yo. I'm gonna drop that Cash App. I'll bless this. That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm so glad that we finally were able to do this. I thank you.
Pushed me out my comfort zone on this.
I had to, because somebody needed this. Seriously, on a serious note, somebody really needed just to hear your story, to hear that, trials to triumph, and how you're still, you're going through situations, but you're persevering. I think that that's super inspiring and encouraging to someone who is listening and viewing this. So I'm just really glad that you were able to, just take some time out this evening, and, amongst your busy life. I know you got a lot going on. You got the kids there kicking it with you. They're always, just great. But again, I know somebody is blessed by what you shared this evening. I just want to say thank you, Chris. Thank you to the viewers. Thanks for Josh making a special guest appearance. Shout out to you. So
let me do like Ice Cube with that shirt on.
Yo, it's funny. He came out the back with it, and it took me back to like a scene from like Baby Boy or something.
It's like all the way tied up. His face, she's got him.
Hey. Family. So for everybody for people that are watching via YouTube or watching the playback, these are her children right here.
Yes.
And for those of you that are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, you can only hear them. So, but that's the family right there. But no, again, Chris, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And the other addition to the family. Hold on, the dog. The other addition to the family. Look, we're going live and direct right here with her entire family.
Right here. He's not a chance.
Shout out to everybody chilling and waiting until the end. No, I appreciate everybody. But now we thank y'all. This is another episode of Change What We Normalize with our special guest, Chris Johnson, my friend. Incredible person, mother, just all-star all around, and just great person who is making real change in this world and is changing what she normalizes. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, share, leave a review. And until next time, I see y'all later. Love you. Peace.